There's a very strong reason that I'm talking about how to find a mentor today. And maybe we should actually start with why you should have a mentor. But before I go to why, let me tell you what happened to me just yesterday, today, and then it's also going to be tomorrow. I have an older person who is a very strong role model, and I would also say mentor to me. Visit me all the way from another state, to where I am. I mean, I can't tell you how I'm feeling right now. After having spent 2 days with this uncle, an older gentleman who is very, very well accomplished, he's extremely wise, and he is very godly. And he came all the way to spend time with me. I'm telling you this because I'm not the same person that I was just 3 days ago because of this visit and this mentorship and this discipleship. A lot has happened since yesterday that he came. We were able to visit my businesses. We went to my farm, and looking at my farm with his incredibly gifted eyes, because this is the person who is accomplished in the real sense of the word, accomplished in the highest sense. But he has a heart for people, and he has a heart for me. And this evening, this is actually part of why we are having this an hour later, because he's been with me till just about an hour ago. And we have had very powerful conversations. There are conversations called crucial conversations. Please type crucial conversations in the comment section. Crucial conversations. What are crucial conversations? Crucial conversations are those conversations that you can't move a step in your life until you have had them. Crucial conversations are conversations around the barriers, the psychological barriers, the internal failings, the internal weaknesses that have been holding you back from accomplishing your purpose or your goal. So those are very crucial conversations. Crucial conversations can also be those conversations that are very difficult to hold, but nonetheless can be held. And then many times people keep postponing crucial conversations. And many times people postpone crucial conversations until they exit the planet. And I tell you, you cannot make progress until you have certain crucial conversations. Let me give you some examples. A crucial conversation could be something around your weight. So your health is failing, or your health indices are failing because you've become obese. And then all your health indices are failing. Some diabetes has started showing up, high blood pressure, some organ complications have started showing up. You need to have a crucial conversation with yourself. Sometimes the crucial conversation is something you have with yourself. Sometimes, as in this case, it's a crucial conversation that you have with your spouse, for instance, and also your children. Sometimes the crucial conversations can be with a professional, like in this particular example, with a doctor. The doctor that really needs to give you crucial conversations, because your current health condition is affecting not just your health, it's affecting your finances, it's affecting your energy, it's affecting your relationship with your spouse. Because if you're a man and you're obese, like a fellow man I saw in the market, a couple of days ago, the stomach was, and this gentleman will probably not be anything more than 37 years. But he was looking older than me at 60. And he had this very protruded, very unhealthy stomach. And you can tell that this is a beer gut. He drinks a lot of beer. And so a crucial conversation with his doctor will be the one that tells him, listen, unless you change your lifestyle, unless you change your diet, unless you start exercising, the future is not looking very good. That's a crucial conversation. It's not pleasant, but it is crucial. So most crucial conversations are not necessarily pleasant, but they are crucial. Another example of crucial conversation is the type that a man has with his spouse and also with his children. All right. Suppose I drop that today. What do? It's a crucial conversation. It's not a very comfortable conversation to have with my family, for instance, but it's crucial because I don't want, if I decide to exit the planet today, because it's my time and God calls me home, I don't want them to be in confusion as to, okay, where am I going to be laid to rest? What's going to happen? Who do you talk to and all that? And then what do I do about my assets and things like that? Crucial conversations. A crucial conversation could be that between a man and his wife. You've not been talking with each other for 1 month, for 3 months, for 9 months, for almost a year. You don't say words to you are just there according to you because of the children. So if it wasn't for the children, you would walk out. So a crucial conversation is one where the man and the woman actually look themselves to the face and say, listen, we are being very childish. We need to address this, because how long are we going to live like this? You still have years of marriage ahead of you. So why are you torturing yourselves for nothing? And then you sit and talk things over and move on. Now, why did I mention crucial conversation? Because this gentleman who paid me a visit for days, and followed me around, saw my businesses, listened to my stories, saw the things happening around me. I had crucial conversations, with him, just sitting down, pouring my heart out, something that only such a wise older person could listen to. I'm mentoring people, helping other people. I'm helping people around me, young people, couples, but I too need to be mentored. None of us should ever find ourselves without a mentor. The wisdom of an older person is incredible, or the wisdom of someone who has achieved a lot, accomplished what you are trying to accomplish, someone who is very successful in what you are trying to do. That wisdom is, it's not something you can pay for. It's invaluable. So you need a mentor. Many of you are hustling and struggling through unnecessarily in life because you are man alone. How can you be in your 30s? How can you be in your 20s? You finish school as a graduate, you're starting business or you're starting career, and you do not have a mentor. You do not have a mentor who speaks into your life, who asks you questions, whom you feel very free with to share intimate things and then have crucial conversation with. How can? I don't know how you do it, but I've been so blessed over the years of my life. There's hardly a time in my life that I did not have a mentor. Even when I was in secondary school, even when I was in primary school, I still remember Mr. Nkama, 1970s. I still remember in secondary school, Mr. Ozuloha, Federal Government College, Akigwe. I still remember Mrs. Nwosu. I still remember Mrs. Nwambekwe in Federal Government College, Okigwe. Amazing human beings. They were not just teachers. They took interest in me. And then I'm still in touch with them since 1979. A little child, and I had this incredible human being speak into my life. And then many of us would have been terrible human beings, like real rascals, if I didn't have the kind of people I've had in my life, who mentored me. If I didn't have the kind of people, who mentored me in different areas in my career. I remember Victor when I was working in Shell, and Victor shared something with me that was so helpful in my career, something that you won't read in the textbook. Victor took a piece of paper and drew 3 lines, like a Venn diagram, not 3 lines, 3 circles. three interlocking circles, like a Venn diagram. And then Victor said to me that, Obo, there are three things. If you really want to grow in your career, I need you to pay attention to the things in these three circles. So in the first circle, he wrote technical. He said, when you joined Shell, you came in on the basis of your technical capacity, on your expertise. You were an expert in something. You had technical knowledge in what brought you here. So in my own case, it was GIS and remote sensing, satellite remote sensing. So that was what gave me a foot in the door. And Victor said, that is not enough, just being technical. That if you remain in that technical, that there is a limit that you can ever grow in the organization. Therefore, he added one more circle. So he said in that circle is, if you like, business, the business model, the business processes. So he said, you do not only need to understand what is going on in the company, in Shell, with regards to GIS and remote sensing, you also need to know how it connects to other departments. What happens in geophysics? What happens in geology? What happens in petrophysics? What happens in petroleum economics? Understanding the business model, understanding the business, that if I add that to my technical expertise, that I become more valuable to the company, and therefore I climb and earn more. And then he said, it does not stop there. You still need to add one more circle. And I asked him, what is that circle? He said, that circle is people. People. Managing people, leading people, influencing people. So this time, you are not just technical, working on your own. You don't just understand the business, but you know how to work with people and how to manage people to produce more results in the company. And then he said, look at all the people who are the executives in Shell, the CEO, the directors. None of them was doing technical work. They were all managing people. And he said that that's the highest level of growth. Where in the world would I have understood that if I didn't have a mentor in my career? Ladies and gentlemen, listening to me, if you don't have a mentor, you are actually caught. You're missing out in your life. Everything is not okay. And as a matter of fact, things are not okay because you don't have a mentor. How can you not have someone speaking and help? Look at the story I just shared with you about Victor and then my career. So, how do you find a mentor? That's the question that so many people ask. And it's a good question. So how do you find a mentor? So many times people come online, they listen to someone's video or they consume my content and then they are sending messages. I want you to be my mentor. I want you to be my mentor. So many times you actually need to start with your circle, the circle of your influence, where people know you in your organization where you work. There are people who know you because you need there are people who know you and people who actually take interest in you, people who are very good at what they do, who can actually help you. Wise people, they are all over the place, but many times you've got to have the courage to go and ask. So approach people around that circle where you already are, in your office, in your church, in your professional association. Maybe you are just a recent graduate and then you're a medical doctor. There's a medical association. There's a National Medical Association or something like that. There are associations of doctors. So it should be easy for you to find an accomplished person in the association who is not only accomplished, but is willing to guide you, willing to answer your questions. So maybe you are a young architect, just coming up in life. Within your professional organization, there is an architect. There's at least one architect. Sometimes when you look at their faces, you actually tell from the faces of people you look at, people who have this pleasant personality and are willing to support younger colleagues. They are there. Or maybe you're an accountant. Look around. Look around also your church. Look around, your mosque, your place of worship. You'll find people, successful business owners, women and men whom you can approach. So to find a mentor, you actually need a kind of bridge, a kind of rapport, because it's totally difficult to, I have maybe up to 250, 300,000 combined followership. On social media, 300,000. So it's going to be difficult for me to just coach every stranger and every mentor, rather. There's a difference between mentorship and coaching. I hope you know that. So, but if you look around your circle, your professional circle, your associations, even within your neighborhood, because I remember having approach people in the neighborhood, because if you live in an estate and then like me, you go out every morning to jog or you go to the gym, so often it starts with a sort of membership of something, a sort of rapport or bridge to something. One of my most accomplished mentors, whom I tell the story of him every time, he turned 85 last month. Guess how we met? Every day I saw him exercising, walking around. And this guy appeared very dignified. He was much older than me, of course, 85. So he was at least 15 years older than me. Very, very dignified. Walks around with some air of authority and all that. So I approached him one day and greeted him and introduced myself to him. That's how it started. So don't go online into people's DMs, people you don't know, who don't know who you are, and say, please be my mentor. It's such a vague request. Look around you. Build a bridge. Now, the other thing you need to know is that don't make yourself a burden to the person. Because often when people are asking, people from around this area are asking for, be my mentor, at the end of it, they end up, just making themselves like, they're just looking for money. And then they start telling you about their, personal problems. I finished, I don't have a job. I finished 3 years ago. I don't have a job. And you're not looking for mentorship. You're begging, for help. So you should already, when you are asking someone for mentorship, like when I met that man, I was, you have to be really more interested. I sort of show some interest in his accomplishment, in your admiration for him. Yeah, I've been watching you, and all this while, that I'm jogging, and there's something about you that pulled me to you. So this is who I am, and this is what I do. And then he was gracious enough, introduced himself, and then from there, one story from the other, and all that. So we connected first before there was this formal mentorship where I will be asking him questions, where I will go to his house with a notebook asking questions. I've never asked him for money, even though the man has too much money. I've never asked him for money, because that's one way to just kill that relationship. And of course, why should I? Because the wisdom and everything things I've gotten from him, you can't pay for it with money. He was the one that told me, Ubo, when you want to start a business and you have money, buy and sell. If you don't have money, sell and buy. He told me so many deep things like that then he will unpack it and I'll be writing and making notes. At another time, he was just talking about the importance of self-esteem and self-awareness. And then he said to me, Obo, that when you say I am, that the universe echoes thou art. Powerful mentorship. And then when I get to a certain point in my business and I'm not sure and I'm about to take a step, I go to him, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I have done so far. This is the result. In fact, and he's so proud, he's so proud of me. This is the result. This is where I am lacking clarity. What are your thoughts? That's mentorship. What are your thoughts? And then he begins to tell me. Okay. So I think that this is one of the missing, in fact, if not the most serious missing step in many people's growth. Many of you are just one mentorship away from your breakthrough. But look at you, 5 years, 10 years. You don't have a mentor. Wow. And you are surprised. You are surprised that things are the way they are for you. So we're going to draw the curtain here today, but once I finish, I need you to go out there, make a list, at least of 10 names of people within your professional association, within your worship place, your mosque or your church, within your estate, within your workplace, that you can approach and say, something in you has been drawing me to you. I know you're a very, very busy person, but I was thinking that you're in a position. I have a few questions or something that have bothered me, that I'm wondering if I'm wondering when would be the most convenient time for you and I to, for me to come and see you. And then most people are gracious, when you approach them very well, very graciously, that I have something bothering me, and I would like to hear your thoughts, your kind thoughts around this. Sometimes it may be someone that has already gone through that situation, and then you're finding yourself in that situation. Like one of my mentors, who helped me, he is 70, he's approaching his mid-70s. So when I got married about 30 years ago, in a few months, he had been married and already had their children by the time I was getting married. And so marriage was a new territory to me, but I knew that this man has had a very good marriage and he's still married to that one woman today, 40-something years now. And it should be more than, I don't know, maybe 45, between 45 and 50 years right now. Very, very successful marriage. And so I would go to him. There's something that's bothering me in my relationship. I told my wife this yesterday, and then this is what she said, and this is the way she reacted, and this is an uncharted territory for me. How do you think I should process this? How do you think I should respond? And then sometimes he takes me to the Billionaire Boat Club in Ikoyi, buys these prawns and expensive meals, and then we are talking. That's what mentorship is about. So find one, and then whatever happens, keep showing up, because you have no idea what's coming your way next. I'll see you same time tomorrow evening. Good night.